Hi, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the breakfast at UMHealth. Today, I'm going to be the chair for the session, and we have with us Associate Professor Dr. Nirmala Pathy. And thank you very much for taking your time to come and join us this morning. All right. So we will start off by introducing our department for a short period. Then Associate Professor Dr. Nirmala would present our new program, which is the Master of Epidemiology, and how it fits as for a clinician researcher, and whether as a clinician you should take a Master's of Epidemiology to enhance your knowledge or not. And that is where Associate Professor Dr. Nirmala Pathy can provide the answers to any questions that you have on this new program. I would just on for a while. I would just start my screen very well. And today we're talking about welcome to public health, and this is basically the one of the first public health department in Malaysia, and is one of the leading public health department in Malaysia. All right. And it's part of the Universiti Malaya, Faculty of Medicine, University of Malaya. And basically, we know our Universiti Malaya have actually changed their vision and mission. The vision is to be a global university impacting the world, and the mission is to pushing the boundaries of knowledge and nurturing aspiring leaders. So public health is one of the things that is the major focus of the department. And basically what we are trying to do is we're trying to create the future of public health in Malaysia and also around the region. So basically what we do in the department, and what we practice in the department, is practice advocacy, empowerment, and health, which is in the context of diversity. All right. And basically, because of our composition of our academics, we have the very diverse academic composition. Many of the public health department in Malaysia are just only focused on having doctors as their academics, but in our department, basically we have more doctors, non-doctors, scientists, and social scientists, and different groups of people. We even have an engineer. So the idea of having diversity in the context of qualification will bring you a diverse view from different aspects. And also we have diversity of race and diversity of gender. So our department is on that context is where there's a strength of the department actually lies. So we also have fair and equity, where we encourage and we enable our students and our academics equitable, fair, and treatment, access to opportunity, and that is what we are pushing. And every single academics here would be able to progress in the field that they want. And also for the students that are going to join us, that's what we want them to do. Basically have a fair and equitable treatment for all students from different areas and different regions of the world. And the inclusion basically is where we create an environment to show respect and value all people, and we give not just to our academic, but also to our support staff or non-academics the inclusion, and allow them to basically continue and promote them to improve their skills and knowledge. And basically many of our academics, not support staff and non-academics, have actually continued to do masters and also their PhD, and that is what we're trying to do. So the department itself is basically a department where you can have diversity, equity, and inclusiveness. So our department are very strong in the sense that we have people from various disciplines, and also various levels of expertise. So this is to show that we have many people in the department with professor, associate professor, and senior lecturers and medical lecturers. Also, we have a very strong support base from our non-academics. So it is important for us when we are talking about a public health program and also a master's epidemiology program, that it needs a strong base for you all to learn from us, for us to share our expertise and our knowledge so that you can progress in your career. The department also houses two centers, research centers. This is a Center of Epidemiology, Evidence-Based Practice, and also the Center of Population Health. Both centers have a diverse range of research under them, and this basically allow the students to actually harness the expertise from this the research that's being done in this center to ensure that they can use the expertise or the support and from the centers to progress in their research. So we have basically 6 disciplines in our department, which is epidemiology, health policy and management, occupational and environmental health, family health and social behavioral sciences, biostatistics, and nutrition and diet. So these 6 disciplines are formed the major discipline in public health, and that is important for us. Basically, when you join us as an academic or as a student, you will be able to get the expert opinion from different disciplines, and different disciplines have different opinion on the same topic, on the same ideas, and that basically allow us to basically develop our academic, how we see from academic perspective. Also, we are doing transdisciplinary research, where basically our research focuses on CVD, cancer, aging, communicable disease, and we apply different expertise on that to ensure that all research are basically carried out in a conducive manner. So the department actually offer different postgraduate program. Currently, we offer basically a master's and doctorate program. The master's program consists of Master of Public Health, Master of Medical Science for research. Doctorate program, we have a doctorate mixed mode program, and also a PhD program for research. But today we are going to introduce our new program, which is the Master Epidemiology, and Associate Professor Dr. Nirmala Pathy will basically introduce and share how taking a Master of Epidemiology will enhance your research skill, will enable you to develop to be a good clinician researcher. This is just to show that our Master of Public Health program have a very long history. It's the first master's program in the university, along with Master of Pathology. And since 1973, with 6 candidates. Currently, we have more than 1,000 graduates since 1974, and from 220 international students. And basically, we have reviewed our curriculum since 2020. This is to show you the Master of Public Health and Master of Medical Science in Public Health intake since 1973. So we have more than 1,000 graduates out there. So with that, I would continue. I would let Associate Professor Dr. Nirmala Pathy to share with you what is Master of Epidemiology, and then it's open to question and answer. You can put in the question and answers in the Q&A chat box, and we will address those question and answers as they come in. Thank you very much. I'll unshare my screen, and Nirmala, you can continue.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Victor, you can hear me loud and clear?
Yes, dear.
Okay. A very good morning. And first of all, I would like to say thank you to the organizers for giving us the opportunity to talk in this morning session. And I would say that I can start with sharing my screen first. And as we speak, maybe I can quickly introduce myself. I am Associate Professor Nirmala Pathy. I am a clinical epidemiologist and also a certified public health physician. And today I chose to introduce our Master of Epidemiology with some preamble. And that preamble would actually mean that bringing us to the topic that we had advertised to everyone towards becoming a clinician scientist. And that was the topic that we sent out last week. But in retrospect, I think I forgot something important. I forgot to add the word successful. And the reason why I decided to infuse this new term into this topic is simply because I realized that many of us working in academia, in the Faculty of Medicine, who are already practicing clinicians, are also in some ways a scientist, right? Because we do research, we practice, and therefore many of us may have already are practicing clinician scientists. So I think what I'm trying to come today to say is not about becoming a clinician scientist, but more so becoming a successful clinician scientist. So with that, let me take you to the next slide. So going back to the discussion that we had earlier, who is a clinician scientist? So a clinician scientist is a physician, a doctor who uses a mainly scientific and evidence-based approach for patient diagnosis and management. And as opposed to using anecdotal or personal experience-based approach. And you'd see that I've used the word mainly, more anecdotal, and this is simply because clinical practice is both science and arts. So you do have to use scientific and evidence-based approach. You do have to use anecdotes and your personal experience because it's all in one. It's not just science alone. So when we talk about clinician scientists, is people who mainly use scientific and evidence-based approach and infuse personal experiences when diagnosing and managing their patients. So in that sense, most of us, or a majority of us, are clinician scientists, especially when you are in the Faculty of Medicine. So for those who can't seem to get like a feel of what I'm saying, so it's more that it's more like I've seen this set of symptoms and signs before, so therefore the diagnosis must be such and such. This is how I was taught when I was in medical school very long ago. But now we have, how can I use the knowledge which I do know to predict and then hopefully answer what I don't know, to answer my clinical problems or clinical questions that I have. That's the new thing. That's what being a clinician scientist is about. So with that, I was talking about the term success, right? So what is the recipe for success? How do you become successful as a clinician scientist? So obviously, when you say success, I think success is a very subjective term. So for different people, it would mean different things. But bearing in mind of the talk today, I think on a general term, everyone would agree that success from a perspective of a clinician scientist would mean that being good in both the scientific research aspects as well as clinical medicine. And then the question is really, can you be good in both? Can you be good in scientific research and at the same time excel in clinical practice? And here is where people often face issues, if you're trying to straddle both and trying to be good in both or be successful in both, are you going to lose out on one aspect? I mean, you have on one side your scientific research, on your other side you have your clinical medicine, and are you doing both well enough that, or you are not doing both well enough that from the scientific colleagues, they view you with suspicion because they think, is this person really, equipped with scientific knowledge to talk about all this research and publish all this work? And on the other hand, you also have your clinical colleagues who are well, is this person really a clinical person because he's doing research all the time or she's doing research all the time? So these are the fears or issues that people have. So what will be a good recipe for success then? So I'm no expert. I would, in my context, I think, share my experience. So the recipe would be to have genuine enthusiasm and passion. And I think for those who attended the talk today, I can already expect that is already ticked in your box, yeah? And of course, a good mentorship helps. I was lucky to have good mentorship, and I'm sure a lot of the colleagues who are here, who are working in the faculty would attest to this, that good mentorship really is a big component of being successful in being a clinician scientist. And the last part is obtaining a first-class training in both research and clinical medicine. So I think all of you working here would have obtained a first-class training in clinical medicine. But what about a first-class training in clinical or basic research? So although I'm today, my topic will be geared more towards clinical research, I think what I'm saying now really applies to those who are interested, clinician scientists who are interested either in basic research as well as clinical research. So that is the preamble or prelude to our Master of Epidemiology program that Professor Victor was talking about earlier. So what sort of training will ensure that you are walking towards becoming a successful clinician scientist? So I'm not saying that this is absolute and one and only option, but this is one of the options that is going to be readily available for everyone, especially the Faculty of Medicine, Malaysia, and also from the region. So with that, we would like to introduce our new kid on the block, which is the Master of Epidemiology. And the Master of Epidemiology will be introduced by the department this year. And it's a 42 credit hour program. And you can have or complete the program in a minimum of 2 semesters and 1 special semester. That means it's a minimum of 1 year. And it can be up to a maximum of 8 semesters or 4 years. So it's really flexible for clinicians or potential candidates that you can come up and enroll with us and be equipped with the knowledge and graduate with the Master of Epidemiology between a period of 1 to 4 years. And it's purely a crosswork program. And about the program, what is expected? What will we provide when you come to us for the Master of Epidemiology program? So this is more conceptual. I'll get back to the very details later on. So we are here to provide you a solid foundation in epidemiological, analytical, and critical appraisal skills. So these are the skills that underpin clinical research, and also, of course, public health practice and healthcare evaluation. So going back to that clinician scientist bit, if you are interested in clinical research, and these are the foundations that we will offer to you so that you can walk towards your ambition of becoming a successful clinician scientist. And who are the prospective students? Yes, while we put it in the title that, you know, we just wanted a catchy title, so that's an admission from our part. We said that towards becoming a clinician scientist, but in reality, the Master of Epidemiology student is program is more than just aimed for clinicians. Of course, in this context, we are saying we want more clinician scientists, so all clinicians are welcome. And besides clinicians, who else can join the program? They can be fresh medical, dental, or allied health graduates. We don't really need experiences, but if you are a candidate with other related basic degrees, with interest or experience in clinical or public health research, you are welcome to join us. So what I'm trying to get here is being a clinician scientist is on an individual level, but you also need to think about your future. How are you going to build a team? How are you going to work towards a common research agenda? So I'm sure many of us here, many of the audience here already have your own research team. You have your subspecialization, you have your research team, you have your vision and mission. And in that process of achieving that vision, mission, and your being successful in the area that you're working on, you would also want to build a team. So what we are saying here today is this Master of Epidemiology can also be for you as a clinician, can be for your junior or a new team member who's joining as a fellow junior doctor, medical officer, or another junior specialist. But it can also mean that you can also get your team members who are your research assistants, research officers, or new recruits to come and do the Masters of Epidemiology so that they can bring value into your team and bring value into your research, right? So this is where we are aiming, to build teams rather than individuals. Of course, you start with yourself, but you can also build a team. And this Master of Epidemiology provides an avenue to do that. And in terms of specialization, so you would notice that the title of the master's program is quite generic, Masters of Epidemiology. So of course, we have a whole set of modules that will be taught and introduced to the potential prospective students. But we really have two concentrations in mind when we develop the program. And the specializations or concentrations that I'm talking or alluding about is clinical epidemiology as a track and public health epidemiology as a track. Mind you that you don't really have to choose a track, because what will happen is, as I show the list of modules that we will be offering to just gauge your interest, you will notice that we have electives and we have also specialization modules. And in the specialization modules, what will happen is we will introduce a variety of modules so that you are equipped in epidemiology. But as you progress and you would like to, choose, I want to be a clinical epidemiologist, I want to be a public health epidemiologist. And then that's where you have all those electives to help you decide which path you would want to concentrate more. But your degree will still be a Master of Epidemiology. It's just that the skill set will be slightly fine-tuned according to your interests. So that's the basic. And when we talk about clinical epidemiology, we are talking about evidence-based medicine setting new standards. And this has been on for 2 decades now. And therefore, we have more and more clinicians and health professionals who are drawn to not only conceiving their study. I think many of us conceive studies, conceive ideas, but how do you conceptualize the idea and how do you materialize and go on conducting the studies and getting them out and publishing them and getting them to clinical practice. So that's what clinical epidemiology is about. So when you do your Masters of Epidemiology, what it means is if you have a conceived idea, what we provide to you will allow you to design the study, choose a suitable study design, and of course, getting your research questions right and making sure and being able to gauge whether something is feasible or not feasible from a methodological perspective, and go on to planning the data collection, planning on the analysis and reporting. So it becomes like you yourself become a one-stop center. So that's what the program will offer to you. It comes with practice. So just doing Masters of Epidemiology and not practicing alone will not be enough. But when you combine the both, you do the program, you brush up your theories, you are tip-top. And of course, after that, what happens is when you go back to your practice and start incorporating all the knowledge that you've got, and then that's where we bring in the success element. And likewise, for public health epidemiology, it applies the same. I think the COVID-19 pandemic, while it has been bad, we all agree that it has been bad news. But for public health and for epidemiology as a whole, this is where people started recognizing epidemiology as a discipline. Among the medical sphere, it may be something that everyone knows about, but in the public sphere, people didn't know what epidemiology was. And for a long time, I had difficulties trying to explain to my family members what I do. They just don't get it. And the COVID-19 pandemic has made it possible for me or for my young nieces and nephews to say what I do. So I think it's just how, in the sense of public health epidemiology, how Master of Epidemiology can come in and give in more epidemiological, in-depth epidemiological knowledge, because we have to acknowledge that at the department, we also have the Master of Public Health program, which is more of a general program, and Public Health Epidemiology or Master of Epidemiology that we are offering actually focuses and dives deeper into epidemiology. So for those who are interested, you are not a clinician, but you are interested in health, you have been doing health research, Master of Epidemiology is still a good choice because you are able to sharpen your epidemiological skills and be a better epidemiologist. You may have already started. So this is for everyone, for clinicians, non-clinicians alike. So on our right-hand side, we have our academics and our support staff, and we are the team of people. And of course, when needed on a case-by-case basis, we will also have external experts coming in to share or to teach in our modules. So that's what we have planned so far. So let's look at what will be taught. What will be taught? So we have the core courses where we will be exposing or teaching the candidates on methods to do research. And then we have very basic principles and methods of epidemiology course. And we'll also teach principles of biostatistics and management in health, which we deem as something important. You can be anyone in any discipline. I think management is an important component in all across all boards. And then like any other master's program, we have a research project component, which takes about 9 credits. And the new aspect that we would like to focus on is our specialization courses. These are compulsory courses. And in this course, in this section, what will be the prospective students be taught? Like I said, we will be going in depth on study designs. And then we also teach you on concepts and methods on looking at causal inferences. That means that we are going to talk about clinical trials, looking at etiologic studies, and what are the concepts and methods that underpin those sort of studies. And of course, we will go deeper with more statistical methods to analyze health data. And we will have a prelude for both clinical epidemiology and epidemiology in public health as specialization courses. These 5 courses are brand new courses, which have been specifically developed to ensure that our candidates or prospective students develop deeper knowledge and become experts in epidemiology. And this is where we actually separate those who choose to be a clinical epidemiologist, a public health epidemiologist, or you can just say an epidemiologist, because here there is no compulsion to choose a certain set of causes to identify yourself. So it's up to you what you want to choose. But generally, we have a list of elective causes, and these comprise screening and diagnostic research. I think a lot of clinicians, I know that they're very interested in this. So we will have a course for screening and diagnostic research, and then prognostic research, where we impart the skills on developing prognostic models, risk models, risk stratification models, and so on. We also have electives on clinical trials, how to manage health data, survival analysis, and we also have field attachment in epidemiology, which is more geared towards public health. And then we have a course for meta-analysis and systematic review, which we call producing better evidence. We have nutritional epidemiology. You would realize that this kind of modules are not modules that are often come into your radar from around the region, and that's simply because the Master of Epidemiology that we are offering is the first of its kind in the region. So the closest that you can get is Australia, and of course then you go to UK and Europe and so on, where we all trained. So many of us are trained elsewhere, and we bring back that knowledge back to the department. And we have worked for some years now to come up with this array of elective courses and our specialization modules, which will suit the needs of those who are aspiring to be clinician scientists as well as general epidemiologists, right? So at the end of the course, what are the graduates? What will be the graduates be equipped with? So we expect that upon completing the course, the graduates will demonstrate advanced knowledge of epidemiology and its contribution to clinical or public health practice. And they are able to choose appropriate study designs, develop protocols, and conduct epidemiological studies. So I know many will imagine epidemiological study means something that looks at what are the risk factors and what is the distribution of diseases. It's not that. Epidemiology, clinical epidemiology particularly, actually encompasses not only origins or causes of disease, but we also look at diagnostic and screening research, we look at prognostic research, and we look at clinical trials. And that's where we focus and impart skills on. So those who come and join us and graduate will have the ability to design their own studies and develop protocols and eventually conduct those studies. And apart from that, On a skills level, we'll also expect our graduates to be able to enter and manage computerized epidemiological data and carry out appropriate statistical analysis. I'm sure this is a weak point for many of us. So this is something that we will able to do, and we will able to improve or up your skills in. And of course, doing stuff yourself is one thing, but it's also important that you're able to critically look at published literature and appraise them, assess the results, and appraise the research question, look at the study design, methods and conduct, and analyze those statistical methods that have been used, and also decide whether they have been interpreted. I think this is for everyone, irrespective of whether you do your own research or not. If you are game and into evidence-based medicine, this skill is something that everyone needs. So if you have taken your Master of Epidemiology, you will be an expert in doing this, and you will be able to gauge which is a study that I can trust, which is a study that I would reserve my thoughts, and which is a study that you feel that the design is so bad that you would not use that sort of findings to practice in your clinic. So this is something that is appropriate and applies to everyone in the faculty. So what about the career opportunities? I mean, as clinicians, clinician-scientists, I think the home is academia. But apart from that, you can, for those who are in the research team who do Master of Epidemiology with us, you can work in government departments and agencies. You can work in international health agencies, private industry. This is a big place. A lot of, we expect a lot of our new intakes will come from here, private industry, pharmaceutical companies, insurance companies. They also hire clinician scientists. They need people to lead their research track. And we also have non-governmental organizations and contract research organizations. These are career opportunities in general for those who pursue Master of Epidemiology. And I believe this is important. I mean, at the end of the day, it's all about money. So we still have to talk about fees. And our standard fee is just the standard master's fee in and all other universities. And for local students, it's about 41,000 ringgit. And for international students, it's about 63,000 ringgit for the entire course. And if you're asking when, our registration will open on 1st March. And our classes will be commencing in September 2022. So that's why we are here to talk about our program and get people to come and ask us more questions. You may already have some interest. So because of that, if you need more details, for one, you can visit our website, or you can personally mail us, the course coordinators. That'll be me and Prof. Mas Ayu, or our program manager, Puan Shamsina, if you have questions which are more admin related. But if you're interested in, knowing more about the contents, the academic components of the program, please feel free to contact us. So thank you for listening. And I really hope there's a lot of interest and we get a lot of responses from all of you. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much, Prof. Nirmala. And there are a lot of questions coming in, all right? And the first question is basically a very, very practical question. If I'm a practicing clinician, that means I am run my clinical practice, how much in terms of time commitment do I need to sacrifice per week? And so that I can complete my program, maybe. Maybe you can share some ideas of what are the time commitment that's required?
Okay, it really depends. If you want to finish your course in 1 year, based on our current experience with our MPH as well, it will be a lot of commitment. At least you have to spend about 8 hours of learning time, being involved in lectures per day. Or if you choose, then that's why there is flexibility. You can go up to 4 years, which means that you can actually space out the time. And our department have got modules offered every semester. So you can actually tailor it according to your own time. That's why we have decided to put in the element where you are allowed to stretch your course. So we have a lot of students who already do that. And what they do is if they're working, they stretch and they do not aim to finish in 1 year. Some of them go for 2 years, or some of them even go for 4 years.
Okay, so to answer the question, to add to what Prof. Nirmala have actually provided is that if you spend, let's say, 1 day, all right, a week during the 14 weeks course, you will take around 2.5 to 3 years. If you spend 2 days a week, you will take around 2 years. If you spend the whole week, then it will be 1 year. All right, and that is the commitment. So, and if you think that you can spend 2.5 to 3 years, then and you want to do it once a week, then it's okay. The cost 41,000, but you only pay what you do. So you don't pay 41,000 upfront. You only pay the program, the courses that you're going to take. All right. So they are basically considered a module or module fee. All right. So second question also is quite interesting. All right. You're talking about clinician-scientist, correct? But if I'm non-clinician, how would it benefit me if I take the course? And what am I able to join the course?
Of course. Like I earlier have alluded to, Prof. Lucy, I think maybe you didn't hear the early part.
It's okay.
It's not only for clinicians, it's also for non-clinicians. So anyone can join the course. So of course there are some minor details on the qualification, but generally anyone with experience and anyone with interest or related degrees in health will be able to be eligible for the course.
All right. So Prof. Lucy, basically the course is open to even to fresh graduate, MBBS graduate, dental graduate, or science graduate who want to basically get more experience in doing research before they actually start their houseman program, and also on the other extreme, which is basically after you have finished after you become a specialist in your field, you like to go beyond what you have doing now, looking at something more research orientated, and that's where the clinical scientist field actually comes in. Of course, in between we have anyone in between actually can join, and besides just working as a clinician, as Prof. Nirmala actually pointed out, you can actually work in both industry setting, basically private industry, and also in NGO setting, and that basically is the skill sets that you develop, and the skill sets will be useful for you. Mostly is doing clinical research, but also in doing public health research per se, epidemiological research, and that is important. All right. So the next question basically, I think is very good. Will the program be conducted online or hybrid? I would like to answer the question. Basically, we actually the program is designed for face-to-face. All right. It will only be talking about hybrid and online if our university actually changes the policy. And I'm not sure what is the policy currently, but if there is issue with COVID, then we'll do it hybrid or online. But if COVID and COVID dies down, then we might need to go back to face-to-face. And the benefit of having face-to-face is basically much better than just hybrid online, because you get to connect with the people or your colleague who are basically joining the course, and also as you get face-to-face with the academics, and that will basically allow you to have much more better experience. And we found that out during the 2 years of COVID-19, where we don't have face-to-face, and that is where the students was complaining about the lack of connection between each other. Although we try to have connection, but it's still not the best is still face-to-face connection. All right, thank you. All right, the next one is, thank you very much for your comprehensive presentation. I was wondering, how is the program different from current available Master Public Health program? I think I can answer that. Basically, the Master Public Health program is, we focus a lot on public health, deliver public health, and basically these are to run public health programs. And the Master of Epidemiology is basically focused on epidemiological, more focused area, but put it in more in-depth area. If you want to become a clinician doing research, public health itself may not suit you because there is a lot of technical stuff. There's occupational health, there's environmental health. Those are the things that you may not want to learn. Even though if let's say you're not a clinician scientist, you want to join a pharmaceutical industry to do research itself, this will be basically more focused on the things that you're going to do. And spending 1 year of your time studying things that you don't like or don't need to use is not really useful to you. So it is better to study what you like or what is important for your future. That's why this Master of Epidemiology program was set up for people focused on different type of work. Master of Public Health is basically if you want to work in an NGO, you want to work on the field, you want to get your hand dirty and approach people. That is where Master of Public Health is very good. And of course, it's not just for clinician, but also for non-clinician. But if you would like to work doing research and designing research setting and working in research center or working in research organization, and not just research organization, but you want to work basically looking at research itself, then epidemiology itself, then is much more focused. Maybe Nirmala can add something else about why is the epidemiology different.
I think Prof. Victor has really answered the question very well, even better than how I would have addressed it. But if you want to look at the technical aspects, if you think looking at the modules help, public health is very general, and only 30% of the public health component overlaps with our program. Everything else is very much epidemiology. So it's all about designing and so on.
Yes, correct. Designing. So we don't learn so much on those things in public health because we don't use it much in public health. So even a Master of Public Health candidate who want to learn about, who want to have an in-depth epidemiological ideas of how to do epidemiological research or clinical research, actually can still join the Master of Epidemiology. So there's no barrier to that. The second question is, may I know upon completing the master's program, do I recognize as a specialist? As a specialist, yes, but not as a specialist under the National Specialist Registry, which is basically a technical program. So specialist itself is a very, very broad term internationally. So only in Malaysia, we talk about medical specialists. Medical specialists, no, but specialists in the field, yes. So defining specialists is all localized to where you come from, where you are. So, but it is not the specialist that we are looking for. We are trying to sell. Is the technical skills that you're going to get, and that technical skills itself will enhance your ability to do better work while you're basically attending to a patient, or even doing research or doing studies. So that is the technical skills that we want you to do. We are not promoting for you to become a specialist. Nirmala, anything else?
Yeah. I just wanted to add for the clinicians, clinical epidemiology is a subspecialty that is recognized by JPA. So maybe you want to do your subspecialty training, clinical epidemiology is definitely one of the disciplines. Yeah.
All right, thank you. There also is a subspecialty training, but currently we still don't have any increase in allowance for subspecialty yet. So, all right. So there is a benefit, but maybe later we'll do that. Okay, the last question. Can this be completed during my sabbatical?
Depends on your duration.
Nirmala is going to go on sabbatical soon. Maybe if you plan it properly.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, it depends on how long is your sabbatical. If you're going for a 1 year sabbatical, obviously you can. But if you're going for a 9-month sabbatical, it's still possible, because what it means is you can do a big chunk of your program then and just stretch a bit extra, and you will be able to complete the course.
Yeah, basically, if you design properly, the coursework itself will basically be less than 9 months. It just fit in 9 months. The coursework itself is start from September until maybe June. All right. So September to June is around 9 months. All right. So that is basically the coursework itself. But after that, your research, you can continue to do it while you're going back to your work. So there's that. and you can complete it during your sabbatical if you plan it properly. And I think that is good if you want to do it for your sabbatical itself. All right. So I think we have answered the question, and think that is basically there's no more question on the chat box, no more question on the question and answer. So I hope that we have shared some ideas and with you about this, our new program, Master of Epidemiology, and put some interest to you. If you are not interested, but if you think that somebody else is interested, you can always ask them to contact us, contact Prof Nirmala, or contact Prof Mas Ayu. Even contact myself if you think that you want to. You can just write to us, and we would gladly answer any of your questions. But of course, first you can go to our website and you can see all the information that we have in our website. And we look forward to seeing you join us this October as a student in our Master of Epidemiology program. Nirmala?
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, I would say the same. I hope that whatever preamble that we have given will get you interested for either for your own self or for your team. So we look forward to meet again and launch our Master of Epidemiology successfully. See you all soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Nirmala. Thank you. All the guests will be with us today. We have a lot of guests today. Thank you very much, and hope and have a very nice day. And of course, we must continue to stay safe as the number of COVID-19 cases actually are increasing, especially even in our ward. All right.
All right. Bye.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.